The scene is set for the most chaotic selection in United States history. If you are deeply concerned about what will happen in November, you are definitely not alone. Experts on both sides of the political spectrum warn that it is very likely that we will not recognize the winner of the presidential election until after the 3rd of November. And everyone almost agrees that we will have to endure an indefinite period. It will not be beneficial for our nation. Those of us older enough clearly remember the pain caused by the 2000 election. The result depended on the results from the state of Florida, and after 36 stressful days where George Bush won 537 votes, a conclusion was finally reached. Unfortunately, some say we are facing 2000 steroid choices because the vote count will continue in multiple mobile states long after election night ends. The biggest reason why this election is so different from previous elections is that so many Americans will vote by mail. According to a recent poll, 37% of all voters plan to send their votes by mail this time. 37% of registered voters said they are likely to vote by mail in the November election by receiving a mailed ballot and either mailing it back or returning it in person, according to a new survey released Tuesday by the Democracy Fund and Ookla Nationscape Project. Other estimates have pushed the number up to 40% and could go even higher than that because some states are extremely aggressively encouraging postal voting. In fact, as I detailed yesterday, one of my listeners told me that he and his wife had received 3 requests for ballot papers each by mail in the past 5 weeks. It is also said that Democrats are much more likely to vote by mail than Republicans. According to the same poll I quoted above, Biden fans are twice as likely to vote by mail than Trump supporters. Among them, 48% of voters who plan to vote for Democratic presumptive nominee Joe Biden said they are likely to vote by mail, according to the survey. That's more than twice the 23% of voters backing President Donald Trump who said they are likely to vote by mail. It takes a lot of time to open and count postal ballot papers. If this job could be done in advance, it wouldn't be that much of a problem. Unfortunately, there are 14 states where the counting of postal ballots is prohibited by law before Election Day, and this includes some of our most important variable states. Tens of millions of Americans will try to vote by mail because of the COVID-19 pandemic, but officials in 14 states are prohibited from processing mail-in ballots until Election Day. Counting them could take days or weeks. Those states including Pennsylvania and Michigan, battlegrounds that could decide the election. We should be deeply concerned to hear that some of these states could finally take days or weeks to count each ballot. And this is just the first number. I'm not even talking about any possible narrative. At this point, many Democrats warn of a possible red marriage on election night. Many believe that President Donald Trump will appear to be winning on election night. But when all the postal votes are finally counted, Joe Biden will eventually win. As evidence, they point out that there was a blue shift in all nation elections going back to 2004. Since 2004, mail-in ballots have been disproportionately Democratic, a phenomenon known as the blue shift. So, barring a landslide, we could see a red marriage on November the 3rd, an election night count of in-person votes that suggests that Trump has won, even though millions of votes for Biden are waiting to be tabulated. Personally, I believe President Trump will lead election night, but the main thing is that they will be in the next days. If a Trump leader evaporates and Biden is eventually declared the winner, there will be a widespread claims that the election was stolen and could cause massive outbursts of anger. And big tech companies are already preparing for post-election chaos. In fact, Facebook has openly announced that it will intentionally restrict the circulation of content to try to control civil unrest. Facebook announced this week that it may restrict certain aspects of its platform following November's general election as part of a larger effort to limit social unrest. A spokesperson for Facebook suggested that executives including Sheryl Sandberg and Mark Zuckerberg may censor specific information if they believe it is likely to heighten political tensions following the election. According to a report by the Financial Times, Facebook announced this week that it will restrict the circulation of content following November's election to curb violence and social unrest. The announcement follows efforts by Facebook to address concerns from those who have alleged that the platform aids in voter suppression and promotes election misinformation. What will this country look like if it takes weeks or even months to officially declare a winner? I believe that whoever wins, the process is so flawed and will break the country. Regardless of the end result, a large percentage of the population will never accept the result as legitimate. This is one of the most difficult episodes in US history, and a highly controversial election result will make things worse. At this point, even the mainstream media admits that we are entering wild times. The following are from CNN. Ask anyone about the next 6 weeks, and they will likely give you some version of this as a response. Wow boy, it is going to be wild. Which it is. The last 42 days of presidential election are always filled with unpredictable storylines, big moments and, more than anything, uncertainty. Almost the only way to avoid the type of scenario I'm describing is if there was a crashing landslide on the election night. Wouldn't it be nice if this really happened? It would be great if one of the candidates accepted on November 3rd or 4th November, and we could have avoided national strife that didn't end for weeks or even months. But I don't think that will happen. Instead, I believe that both sides will fight to the bitter end, and the end will definitely be very painful.
Most of the idea, comment, information, and criticism containing in these videos have been created by Daily News Report. Before making any important investment decision, use the information contained in these videos as a starting point for conducting your own research. If you make any investment or legal decision, it is advised to consult an expert before making this decision.